So today's intent is yearning for God. This is one of those times where when Steve talks about the innermost and the highestmost being the same, this is one of those times where paying attention to that is important, because we have God within us, and there's also God above us. And so when we're yearning for God, we're not only yearning for a power higher than us, we're also yearning for the divine spark that is within us simultaneously. Which I actually think the gospel and the lesson reflect fairly well, because the lesson is talking about when he came to love life and when his heart came to love the truth. He's talking about all the things that the wording is, I no longer have trust in anything in the world, which, when I've read that before, I've taken that a little more literally, but this time when I read it, it felt more like, it's not that he cares less, because that's the wrong word. It's more of a matter of priorities. Because when you're searching or yearning for something greater than yourself, or deeper than yourself, or more truer than yourself, your priorities of what's important shift. Yeah, and so the lesson feels like he's talking much more about searching for I don't want to say external truth, but a higher. Whereas the gospel is talking about when, Mary's telling the story of when the Spirit came, and she grabbed Jesus and Joseph, and then Jesus and Spirit became one and the same being. That's more of the internal reality. Because, you can call it your light twin or your divine angel, or, Christ, divinity, or there's a whole lots of terms for this. But, the myth of in the gospel is taking it in a bit more literal direction. But, it's that finding that divineness that is yourself and embracing it completely. And in a lot of ways it changes your life. Sometimes in ways you'd never expected. Like, take me for instance. If you had told me, in high school that I'd become a priest, I would have laughed in your face. That was not in my life plan. It was not a thing I was even remotely considering, and yet here I am giving out. So, sometimes, you make plans and the Spirit laughs. And sometimes it's for the better. Well, it's usually for the better, at least in my experience. But, because, go figure, the Holy Spirit knows what it's doing. But, yeah. And I also think there's another layer to this yearning for God thing, which is, there's a saying I heard once about how, like a plant, we're either growing or dying. And it's a little simplistic, but I feel like when we're yearning for God, we're more likely to go into the growth phase. It's like, take a rubber band. Like us, there are things in life that stretch it, and then, things eventually go back to normal, but rubber band isn't the same again. Rubber bands stretch out or eventually break, but we're not talking about the breaking part, unless you're talking about breaking in order to put yourself back together better. But that's a whole other topic as well, so I won't go into that. But yeah, so yearning for God gives us sort of something to strive for at the same time, because when you find God, there's that whole seek and you will find, and when you find, you'll be disturbed, and you will reign over the all. That's a continual process, because you get to the disturbed part, and then you get the reigning over the all, and then like things are good for a while, and then you find something else, and then you start the process over with that, because there's always layers to all the things. Anytime I've thought, oh, I've made it, or I've reached whatever, I always find something else, go, oh, that was just my ego talking, okay, yeah, never mind. Which, honestly, I think life would be kind of boring if it didn't work that way, but I might be the weird one for that one. But, yeah. So yeah, yearning for God is one of those things that you can either take negatively or positively. It's very easy to do it either direction. Because the whole yearning thing brings up imagery of not finding it a lot of times. But the truth is that we're yearning and finding constantly. Because there's always a new dimension or a new layer of things. And so it's not a yearning because of a lack of, it's a yearning for, seeing more of the whole picture. We're three-dimensional beings trying to put together a five-dimensional puzzle. It's going to take a long time. And, maybe even multiple lifetimes for all we know. So, one, be patient. And two, don't worry if you've figured it all out. Anyone who says they have, I think might be lying, but who knows? Maybe someone actually has figured it out. So, anyway, with that, go in peace, and may the Lord be with you.